Hello and welcome. It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock, and you're watching Let's Kill Twitter with me, Julian Hall. This is the show that aims to detox your timeline with the art of conversation. That's no mean feat. You're quite right. Luckily, I never have to do that alone. Tonight, I've got two fantastic guests joining me, the comedians Sam Baines and Michael Legge. And not joining me tonight is Sajula Kershi, my co-host. That she's not jumped ship. She is gainfully employed elsewhere, and a girl's got to eat. So mindful of that, let us press on. Just to remind you that we're now streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Please do give us a subscribe on YouTube. That makes all the difference. And of course, follow us on Twitter at LKTZoom. That's where you can exclusively engage with the show tonight, asking questions, making comments. And the rest of the time, we'll be posting clips of shows, news of the next shows, and also retweeting the finest selection of tweets available on Twitter, and occasionally trying a few of our own, which don't get the recognition they deserve, but we're going to keep trying anyway. But without further ado, let me bring our guests into the Zoom room. Well, please welcome the comedians, the writers and actors, Samantha Baines and Michael Legge. Hello, we're live.
Hi.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Thanks for joining
Actor, I
us.
like that.
Well, it mixes it up. You've all got that on your CVs. Usually what
Sure.
happens if I read out the whole CV, it is like years out of date.
What you left out was award winning, because every last fucking one of us has won an award somewhere. So,
Well, that's
slip the
official.
award winning in.
Was that not official in 2007 when the If Dot Comedies gave everyone Spirit of the Fringe? I might have been on that
Was
panel.
it that long ago? Holy shit.
Yeah, 2008, I think. Oh,
Yeah, but you
goodness.
need that for your Twitter bio, award winning. You're not even a comedian if it doesn't say award winning in your Twitter bio.
You're not a member of the club, are you? So it's great to have you guys here. Look, tell me what you've been, before we delve into the world of online, what have you been up to in real life? Samantha, kick us off.
What have I been up to in real life? I tried to dye my hair red. It looks exactly the same. That's my most recent happening. I have written a couple of books, just children's ones, so they're shorter than usual, because adult book word counts scare me. And just been doing radio and have a podcast called The Divorce Social, because I am divorced and I like to talk to other people who are also divorced or have had a breakup. And it's not all doom and gloom, but sometimes it is a little bit doomy and gloomy.
Okay, yeah, it goes to the territory, but it sounds pretty good, actually, I have to say.
Well, do you know what? It's not award winning, but it's double award nominated. Hello.
Nice.
Hello. God,
That's a
double
win,
award.
though, isn't it? If you get two,
Exactly, it cancels out.
that's a win.
It's just nominations.
So, Michael, how are you in the new normal?
What is the new normal? What stage of the new normal are we at? Because I like the old new normal, where at least a lot of us stayed in and we didn't. This is how we communicated with people. I really enjoyed this. I don't like the new normal, which is perilously close to normal, and I don't want to go back to normal. I don't want people to die through a pandemic, but I like... when people go, it's all a scam. I don't give a shit if it is a scam. Say it's a scam then. So, all right, it's a scam, but can we still stick to those rules of not going out and working?
So you're all up for the remote way of life, are you?
Yeah, I mean,
good to hear it.
I don't know how you felt post lockdown. Like, when we were so used to talking to people on Zoom, and after a while it got boring, so you just close your laptop. I don't know how many necks you've broken just with actual human beings just slamming their heads down. Oh shit! I forgot you can't really do that in real life yet.
So dramatic. I really wish I'd done that, but Sam, sorry, go on.
A lot of tea nose burns, slamming people's faces into their coffee.
So, I don't know what the new normal is, but as I'm always a couple of steps behind, I think I'm really into the old normal, but not normal. Just the old normal.
Are we old enough to remember the old normal? Yeah, I kind of regretted that phraseology as soon as I said it. It's like, what does it really mean? It's got to be said. But there you go. Now, what about the life online? So I'm going to start in reverse. Now, Michael, is it true that if you mute the C-bomb on Twitter, you just disappear? Or not?
I mean, who am I?
But
I felt that a few years ago when I had to quit drinking for about 6 months, and because of medication I was on, and I thought, oh God, this is going to be a nightmare, and it turns out it was really easy. And I thought, well, I don't know who I am then. I mean, if I'm not an alcoholic, who the fuck am I? It was quite disappointing to actually find out that all my problems are just me, and I was blaming alcohol for years, but it turns out now it's just me.
Divorce is quite similar to that.
Right, I bet it. I bet
you
it is.
blame your ex for all the problems, and then they disappear because you break up with them, and you're like, oh, the problems are still here.
Well, probably. I mean, it's probably also as daunting, isn't it? Oh my God, I'm gonna have to give up this person, but secretly you sort of want to, which is what it's like with booze.
Yeah.
And as you can see, I've done really well at it.
Well, then not so
dry
secretly.
January.
You
At
give
least-
them up.
Yeah.
At least there's no branding on that glass that we can see, so that's okay. I don't even know if anyone cares about that kind of thing anymore, to be honest. Oh, there we
I'm
go.
a classy guy.
Do I get? I don't know. Other beers are available. Is that enough to cover it, or will you?
Yeah.
No other beers are available here, mate. I'll tell you that. I've had a look around. It's literally all that's in my.
Well, don't go to Michael's because he's got a very limited selection of bevies then. What about online? Sorry, I might have like flunked that question a bit. What about your life online? How do we characterize you online, or characterize your love or otherwise of Twitter?
Well, here's the thing, mate. I even like I'd say in the last week, someone online, like due to a gig that I'm doing and they're advertising the gig, they will describe me as angry comedian Michael Legge, or angry Michael Legge, or angry man Michael Legge, and it's like, have you fucking seen the internet? How dare you call me? I'm Captain fucking Chill Out. I mean, you cannot compare my fury to anyone online. I'm basically, a jazz bass player. Just cool, laid back, whatever. But now it turns out I'm the angry one online.
Well,
not everyone else.
I just think it's just a very precise use of one particular word, but always makes me laugh. Now I have to say this week's selection is pretty damn cuddly. I have to say I don't think I've ever come across such a cuddly selection of tweets.
I chose mine wisely with that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought, let's kill Twitter, but let's kill it with kindness.
Kill it with kindness. Yeah, exactly. That's part of the brand. But basically, it turns into anything we want it to be. But this week, we're killing it with kindness. I mean, Sam, you were saying to me just before we started that you tend to sort of avoid the kind of cut and thrust of political Twitter. Must not be that easy sometimes to do. You must feel vaguely tempted to wade in occasionally.
Yeah, it depends what it is. I mean, on social media, I call myself a joy facilitator, which is basically a downgrade from comedian. And it's the sort of stakes that I like. It's like, I can make you smile. I don't have to make you laugh. And I'm a joy facilitator. So I'm very much in the cuddle zone of Twitter. I retweet cat pictures, like I'm sharing lovely, joyful things. I do get a little bit of my feminism creeps in, and any great women's causes, and a bit of divorce anger sometimes. But I try to avoid any tweets using the word Boris or other members of his party family. Because it just makes me too angry with the state of the world, and I just don't want to be angry on social. Well, I don't want to be angry generally in life. I was, angry in a marriage for long enough. So now I'm super chill and cuddly. It's my vibe.
I mean, Joy Facilitator does seem like the first stab that Joy Division had at a band name, and they thought, no, let's do something darker. Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm seeing there in capitals, isn't it? You cannot really argue with that. That's Martin, super fan of the show, Martin.
He says I'm too loud. No, Martin, I intend to be this loud.
I mean, you have got a microphone that looks like a torpedo as well. It looks like it could do some serious damage at any point.
I really hate it when comedians are too loud.
Especially those women ones.
Oh, they're the worst.
So loud.
That's me cancelled.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Mike. I mean, that's short and sweet.
Hey, Julian, what are you like online?
What am I like online?
I mean, do people ask you questions in this thing?
No, they don't. I kind of feel wanted. I feel wanted now.
Do you know what I mean? Because I do a lot of comparing, and generally when I'm comparing, I'll go, hey, how's everybody doing? And no one goes, do you know what, Michael? I'm fine. How are you?
Yeah,
and I would like that. Just someone in the audience go, how are you, mate?
That is true. And that is the secret
this is how I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you as the compare of Let's Kill Twitter. So
true.
How are you online?
What am I like online? Oh, I'm glad someone's asked me that. Actually, if any guest was going to turn the table, this is going to be you, Michael.
Well, that's nice.
That's a good thing. I think having this account was an attempt to broaden some sort of expression or explore things that I wouldn't necessarily want to explore on my own account. I don't necessarily consider my account to be a PR or a work account, but it's got to be so many different things. I mean, if I can tweet something funny, well, that's a big if. But if I do that, I try and do something once a day, and it's usually much more sort of benign on my own sort of timeline.
What's your big swear word if it's not cunt?
Well, I don't know. I'm just not. I haven't really. I live vicariously through other people's swear words, Michael. Quite often yours, to be fair. But
I try not to swear on. It's very difficult being a children's book writer and having been in Magic Mike and doing some of the filthy comedy I definitely used to do now.
I suppose, Samantha, the way I look at it though is it's like. Do you remember when Twitter had half the amount of characters it has now?
Yeah.
And people go, oh my God, it's really hard to say what I want to say with these few characters. I realised really early, oh, well, do you know what? There's one way around that. And if you just whittle it down to one word, I think...
it works for all things.
I've already beaten Twitter,
So do either of you have an abiding memory of something that happened on Twitter or any other social media, to be fair, that sticks in the memory because it was a bit of a pile-on or it went viral or anything like that? Have you got a kind of social media moment? And you may have more than one, of course, but...
Shall I turn my mic down now? I feel bad for Martin.
You've been mic shamed.
Martin, I'm so sorry that you think I'm too loud. Yeah. Maybe that's better. Yeah, I have a memory. It was quite recent, so I don't really need to remember it. But when I got divorced, I then came out as bisexual on social media. And obviously my friends and stuff knew, and I was dating women and men and people of no genders, non-binary people. But I felt I was like, oh, should I put it on Twitter? Is it an overshare? And then I felt this real, like, I need to just say it out loud. I need to just like shout it into a box, even if no one listens, just so I've said it. And I feel like, there we go, full stop, it's out there. So I made a nice photo of me in like a strawberry jumpsuit, and I put a nice background, a rainbow background on it. And I just thought I'll stick it on Instagram and Twitter. And I thought I'll get a few likes. Maybe I'll be asked out by some people, Gray, in my DMs. But on Twitter, it got like 10,000 likes, and it was picked up by some newspapers. And then I ended up writing an article about coming out later in life. And that was quite a surprising one, because I think as a comedian, a lot of the time you're like, oh, this pithy thing I'm saying is so good that I'm going to tweet it, and immediately my phone is going to ping with notifications, and everyone's going to be like, this is the most witty thing anyone's ever said, and that one gets 2 likes. And then the time I tweeted that I was bisexual, and also the time I tweeted a picture of my brand new puppy called Custard, that also got like thousands of retweets. So it's always the ones you don't expect.
I need to get a dog. I totally need to get a dog.
Can we see Custard?
Yeah. Wow. Are you?
Can we find Custard?
Yeah, she's down. I had to lock her downstairs because she's recently found her voice, and I'm all for her kind of saying her piece, but it's very loud.
I'm getting
a
slight echo on your microphone, actually, Samantha. But just to say, I don't know quite why, because I didn't notice it before. But
well, so Samantha's got the echo on her microphone, and me with no headphones. And the voice of thunder is apparently the quiet one.
One thing I will say is I've never actually heard anyone say, please slip into my DMs. Normally it's like people tweeting, don't slip into my DMs. It's a very odd thing. I see that sometimes with people who are sort of journalists who basically say, look, I don't want DM messages about work. It's like, well, don't leave your DMs open. I don't know. It just seems a bit counterintuitive.
I love DMs. As long as they're not like unsolicited dick pics or weird nude photos. If I've asked for those, fine, but not if they're unsolicited. But no, I love people getting in touch. People send me like little reviews of my books when their children have read them, and like lovely things about stuff I've done. So, and also ask me out. Someone listened to my podcast, The Divorce Social, listened to me moaning about my ex, and then asked me out after it.
Was it your ex?
Sorry?
Was it your ex?
No.
Oh, no.
No, he was busy.
That's a shame, because I was just thinking of the rom-com movie.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
It would not have been a happy ending if he asked me back out. No, it was someone else who's listening. My ex was too busy filling out financial forms at the time, I'm sure, to just pay attention to anything that I was doing. But yeah, fun. DMs. DM me.
So, Michael, what about you? What's your sort of memorable Twitter moment, or maybe something slipped into your DMs you want to share with us?
No one ever slips into my DMs, but I'll be honest with you, I know this is quite a controversial viewpoint, but I don't really see the problem with dick pics. I don't know why people get upset. I think they're really fun to draw. And if you haven't drawn a few, I really insist you'll have a lot of fun. Anyway, here's my terrible fun memory of Twitter. Like, I think it's probably the best time I've ever had on Twitter. I only tweeted a couple of things, but everyone was tweeting one night, and it was the night that MichaelJackson died. It's terrible that a celebrity death made people so celebratory, but everyone was doing so many jokes, and it was so funny. And I was like, God, this is such a great forum for jokes. And then I don't think we've ever had that forum quite as lively as we had that night. My favourite joke that night was by Jeremy Lim, who I'm pretty sure I've chosen one of his tweets.
Absolutely have.
And his joke that night, the night that MichaelJackson died, was tell Paul McCartney the girl is his. And I thought that was hilariously funny. There was loads of great tweets that night. My tweet, not so funny, which was sham off.
Oh. Dude, what
Is it
year
just
was
loads
that?
of paedophile jokes?
No,
You
I don't
haven't even
think there was
mentioned
many
those.
paedophile jokes. It was mainly MichaelJackson jokes.
You know,
I'm
But
sure
the whole-
there were paedophile jokes, to be
Yeah.
fair.
I was going to say, there's a big
I don't
old
think
court
that
case,
open
wasn't
goal
there?
wouldn't have gone unnoticed.
I didn't join Twitter till 2009. I'm pretty sure that I didn't join Twitter till after that happened. I know.
I've just had my 12-year Twitterversary.
Yeah,
I had balloons and everything.
Wow.
I don't
on
really
Twitter.
remember a time before Twitter.
Or before the new normal, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, there are things like there are definitely moments. I can understand why that was a big one, where it is just like it goes completely crazy, and sometimes for totally different reasons. I remember being at the Edinburgh Festival when the riots in London were going on, and it was a bit weird on Twitter. And it was really weird because they were not far from my house and they got very close. So I was watching it sort of real time via Twitter, and those kind of things stay with you. And then obviously, you know, lately, obviously the whole Boris sort of fandango is one of those moments, although it's been spread across so many party moments now. But
I did get trolled as well for having tinnitus and being ambassador of the. I was ambassador, so I have a hearing aid and 2 types of tinnitus, and I'm ambassador for RNID, and I was ambassador for the British Tinnitus Association. And I got trolled for having tinnitus and being a comedian because they said that I was going to make fun of tinnitus, but I was like, but I have it. I'm trying to help.
Wow, even before you done any material on it or whatever.
Well, I did a joke on Sky News, which was the lamest joke of all time. Like, I imagined it was the most non-offensive joke, which is I have 2 types of tinnitus because it was buy one, get one free, and I love a bargain. Like, that's like, children can hear that joke and surely no one can be offended. And everyone was very angry.
Gosh.
Well, not everyone, but a group of people in the tinnitus community were very, very angry.
Oh gosh. Well, I say I was PRing Olaf Falafel when he won Dave Joke of the Fringe with the florets joke. So fun. But anyway, Martin, regular viewer, said tinnitus sufferers represent, which is
that's why he knew my mic was too loud. I'm sorry if it brought on your tinnitus, Martin.
I also have tinnitus, but I don't have 2 types. But there you go. Well, at least as far as I know, I don't know.
I'm very competitive.
I've got so many ailments, and tinnitus isn't one of them. I feel really left out.
Collect the set. I mean, between us, I reckon we could rack up quite a good list.
Oh yeah, I've got everything else. Don't you worry about that.
For the rest of this chat, I could just do sort of a high-pitched whine for you to feel left in.
Oh, that's my job.
Oh, right. But it's already your voice, Sam.
Let's get into it then. Let's get into those cuddly tweets. I don't want to miss any of them out. Now, I'm wondering where to start.
Where to start?
Let's go for... Well, listen, actually, there's only one mention of Boris tonight. So let's start with Paul Litchfield's tweet, which, Michael, you chose. So if you could read that one out, and then we can get into it.
Do you know what? I forgot I chose that. I'll be honest with you. I've forgotten all of the ones I've chosen. But this is Paul Litchfield, who is a brilliant comedian in a sketch group called The Trap. Also, he does things on his own. He doesn't need them. He's a very funny man on his own. But once again, this is... I think this is quite typical of the great man, Paul Litchfield. Boris spent 25 minutes outside working, giving him enough time to listen to the end by the doors twice, with just over a minute spare to ask who the hell put it on twice. That to me is... I just saw a tweet come up. Yeah, Mr. Litchfield is a Twitter legend. He is a Twitter legend. And what he's done there is he's been funny. And...
tell us about that, Michael.
Do you see that often when it comes to... And I'm guilty of being a ranty, angry person online. So I'm out of the equation already. But it's really rare that... I'm going to say it, comedians say something about a political thing that's going on, and it's funny. You go, oh yeah, that's what you do. Paul's done that here.
Yes, it's weird though, because I thought that Boris's problems was with curtains rather than doors, but yeah, it's fine. There was a deluge of Boris jokes though, Mike. So how do you feel as a comedian when you are... So we had Tiernan Douillet on here last year, I think it was, and he was saying that, I don't know who he was quoting, but he was basically saying that the best jokes on Twitter always come a couple of days later when people have actually had time to really think of it, whereas the knee-jerk ones, some of which admittedly are very good, everyone is falling over themselves, so competitive to want to do that. And then we get involved in it on this account as well, because we just, you can't really resist. You want that sort of dopamine hit.
I think the worst thing about it is you just realize how like everyone's making that joke. If you think it's just comedians making the same joke, you're wrong. It's everyone. Everyone's made that joke, and then you go, oh shit.
It's like when you reply to a Twitter thread with something you think's really funny, and then you actually look at the rest of the Twitter thread, and everyone else has said the same
I've
thing
definitely done it. I can't think of an example, but then again, my mind is dusty, so I can't think most of the time. But I've definitely gone, ho ho ho! I've come up with a good one. Send, and then as soon as I press send, I went, was that really obvious? So I search it, and like 50 people have done it, and I've gone, I'm a pathetic hack. It's pathetic.
Well, this is why I don't get involved in these things on Twitter, because it is like a race to come up, like someone dies, someone does something awful, Matt Hancock snogs a woman, does it really badly. It is like everyone's like, go, go, go. We need it would be good actually if we had like comedians Twitter notifications where we could all be told first that something's happened, so we get a little bit of time to prepare or a joke.
Or like when something happens, all comedians accounts are blocked, so you're not allowed on there for maybe about 4 days. Go, no.
What did we say?
The best joke. Don't think of the gut joke. Think of the best joke.
Yeah, but surely the whole thing with Twitter is it's so immediate. So I think, I'll think of something good for that. And then I get distracted because I'm looking at a video of a dog in leaves. And I'm like, oh, that's nice. And I forget.
But you could have like a Radio 4 version of Twitter where, brilliant, you come up with that joke way later than everyone else did. So, if Radio 4 and Twitter could get together, oh God, I've just made myself feel sick.
Well, isn't that what the like quizzes are when it comes to the end of the news year? And then we look back at all the news from the year, because then you can go back and reuse all the jokes that you wrote.
Yeah.
Not that I wrote any, so no one employed me to do one of those shows.
Oh, I wrote loads and no one employed me. So well done you for cutting out the middleman.
It's such a breath of fresh air, Samantha. It's like slip into my DMs, but don't employ me. It's like it's just totally the other way around.
No, just don't. I want to be employed for some things, just not all the things.
Not all the things. Oh, okay, not all the things. Actually, it's your turn on the Twitter wheel, so let's have a look. Oh my goodness! Right, hang on.
Go to one of my stunning, really important.
Let's go to let's go to women's art. If you could read that one out and let's find out what's going on.
This is women's art account. It's at Women's Art 1 if you want to follow it, and I follow it because they tweet about amazing female artists that I didn't know about, and I can discover new artwork, and I like looking at nice things. UK 104-year-old Grace Brett was a member of a band of guerrilla knitters and was thought to be the oldest street artist / yarn bomber in the world. Hashtag unraveling women's art. And then there are 2 pictures, one of presumably Grace, the artist herself, next to now I think it's a tree cover that goes over a tree, but also looks like a tree that's been made out of wool. So it's like green with branches and flowers on it and something hanging off, which looks a little bit like an ice cream sundae. And then another picture of a telephone box cover over the top of a telephone box that has lots of pretty colors, and it says telephone at the top. And let me tell you, I'm a very avid knitter, which is why I really like this tweet. Let me tell you, it's very hard to knit words into a knitting pattern because it can so easily go wrong. So I'm very impressed with the telephone that is on the telephone box cover. And also, I just love guerrilla knitters during lockdown. Also, yarn bomber is an excellent phrase. Guerrilla knitters during lockdown, like covering things randomly with knitting. I live in Kent, so there's a lot of it around here. Was amazing. Like, it cheered me up when we couldn't go anywhere, but we could only go for a walk. I love to see a bit of wool saggy in the rain, trying to cheer up my day, and think of the person who'd sat there like knitting that little fake flower or something. I love it.
Yarn bombers. I mean, that is new to me, I've got to say. That is a new one.
Yeah, Banksy gets all the attention, but actually Grace Brett she's the woman who should be getting all these.
And she's put the work in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's easy to spray stencils, isn't it?
Knitting takes ages.
She sat on that phone box and knitted that whole thing.
She sat on the top of it.
Yeah.
One leg over each side. Yeah. Poor Grace. 104, she's doing well.
It'd be amazing to find out that she is Banksy, though.
That would be something. So get in touch, obviously. I'm bound to have a Twitter account, clearly. Do you think it's harder to write the words telephone in wool than it is to write the Declaration of Independence on a grain of rice? I don't know. I think
no. I think the rice is harder.
Okay.
Grace would need a little magnifying glass. I mean, to be fair, I'd need a magnifying glass.
She'd need her readers, wouldn't she?
Yeah, she would. But I love her. Grace, I love you. I think this is such a cheery tweet.
I'm glad we've still got phone boxes that she can do that with, really. So,
I think I generally like vandalism. I don't know about you. I think it's such an innocent way to annoy people.
It's true. Also, if she'd done inside as well, and years ago, she'd have done the inside of the box. She could have actually knitted gentleman caller cards as well, just to give it an authentic feel. But
sexy. Also, I mean, I am seeing a slight problem here in that the telephone box looks completely covered in wool, as in, where's the door? Don't think you can open it anymore. Which would definitely annoy people. But does anyone actually go in telephone boxes apart from to escape from creepy men in the street?
Well, I mean, I was thinking that maybe if she'd, knitted some piss for the floor as well.
Nice,
So, because that is the reason we still have these great British institutions. So
we don't have
pop
public
in and urinate.
Yeah. That is a problem. Yeah, that's what's two for one on that one for sure. And well done, Grace. Thank you very much for that. Thanks for choosing that. Let's go. Let's have a look. I'm definitely keeping that one till last. Here is one that we mentioned Jeremy Lim before, so let's use Jeremy's tweet.
I don't remember choosing this.
Oh, that's not helpful.
And I don't think I get it.
I don't get it, so I was waiting for you to explain it.
Okay, do you get it, Julian?
When I first saw Whitesnake, I thought a speckled.
No, I don't think I get it. And here's the thing. Unfortunately, Jeremy's so smart that he constantly, I think, most things make me feel like an idiot, but I think he's particularly good at making me feel stupid. And I've liked his tweet. I press the heart button.
Yeah.
Because I don't want him to think that I don't get it. I don't get
peer
it.
Pressure.
But no, the thing is, it's not even up for question whether this is funny or not. It is. I just don't get it.
Okay, so Whitesnake are a band.
Yeah,
did you know that?
A band.
A rock band.
I thought they were a speckled band.
Yeah, Martin.
Rock and speckled.
Jeremy Lim, get in touch. I mean, what can we say?
No, I don't ever want him to, because
really?
I think explaining a joke is one of the most criminal acts you can do. It's horrendous.
Yeah,
I mean, does that not happen to you on Twitter? Sometimes you tweet a joke and someone goes, "I don't get it," and go, "Well, it's fine. Don't worry about it. You don't have to get it. It's fine." But explaining it,
we're gonna have to go to the Barry Cryer line about the frog being dissected, aren't we?
I would like to understand it though. I've googled speckled band meaning.
Right.
And it says, quickly lighting a candle, he discovers on the bell cord the speckled band, a venomous snake.
This is like Alexa just brilliant. pulling up
the adventure of the speckled band.
Baffling.
Is the speckled band a real snake? These are what other people ask. Why is it called the speckled band? What does the snake symbolize in the speckled band? What is the crime in the speckled band? What is it?
Speckled band is a sexual
fuck off, Neil. Stop explaining things. We're not. If we don't know the answer, we're not meant to know the answer.
This is a bit. I don't know if this is like the joke version of an NFT or something like that, but I don't know. I just thought I'd throw that in.
Okay, so I mean, the thing is, I sort of vaguely at the back of my mind knew it was Sherlock Holmes, but I couldn't put a finger on why I knew that. Shut up, Martin. Stop explaining it. And also, if you're going to explain it fully. We still don't get it.
So it's a Sherlock Holmes story, the speckled band. But how
Yes.
does the rock band link in? That's what we still don't understand. But it does feel very intelligent. It feels above us.
Right. So
he-
I look really smart because I chose this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so I've won.
I mean, there should be some kind of prize, really. I think I have to say.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Let's see if there's a right. Actually, Samantha, we're going to do something slightly, a bit more serious, really. I think our main serious tweet today, and we've been talking about tinnitus before. Go ahead. Read B's tweet.
Yes, so this is from B. Webster. She says, it is not, in capitals, it is not despite her deafness, in quotations. It is despite the many barriers societies have placed on her as a deaf person, in quotation marks. Language matters. Deafness is never the issue. Ableism is. And I like this tweet because I am part of the deaf community. I wear a hearing aid. I rely on lip reading, and it very much stresses. We were talking about introductions earlier, and the fact that you didn't do a long list of all my accolades, Julian, makes me very upset.
People can see it on the website, though.
No, I'm joking. But what a lot of people do in an introduction for me is say, despite being deaf or despite wearing a hearing aid, she's still been employed by people, essentially. Or says that I've done stuff even though I'm deaf. And I don't see my deafness as holding me back or stopping me from doing anything. And that's why I completely agree with B's tweet. It's actually and I know a lot of disabled people who I follow on social media and stuff talk about this. It's actually the barriers placed by society, as she says. So, the fact that I might not be able to understand everything that's being said in the cinema because maybe the shot isn't on a character while they're talking, so I can't lip read at the same time, and I can't hear because there's background noise. The reason I can't enjoy that film is because there aren't as many subtitled cinema screenings as there are non-subtitled cinema screenings, for example. So it's always about accessibility, and we're all doing the best we can with what we're given. But wouldn't it be great if we could try and make everything as accessible as we can? And I know it's a kind of new, lots of people are waking up to this. And a lot of that is because of Rose on Strictly, Rose Ayling-Ellis, who won Strictly Come Dancing and is deaf, and did a lot for kind of the deaf community and spoke out a lot on that show, which is brilliant. Primetime BBC One, whether you like sequins and dancing or not, you will have seen the stories kind of. So people are becoming more aware, and it might be something that people, never thought about before, deafness or visual impairment or whatever it is. But I do think if there's anything that we can put in place to make things a bit easier, and also we need to ask disabled communities how they want to be described and how they want to be spoken about. I don't want someone to say despite her deafness about me. I want to say, and she's deaf, yay. And there's like hearing impairment. A lot of people might write that about me in an interview. Someone wrote that as an introduction in an article about me, and I don't like that impairment word either, because again, it's like, oh, there's something wrong with her or something's holding her back. And actually, that's why I write my children's books, they have deaf protagonists, and their hearing aids don't hold them back. They're actually, in Harriet versus the Galaxy, her hearing aid translates alien languages. How cool is that? And then she protects the earth from aliens. So it's like an extra cool skill. And I think that would be, I wish when I found out I needed a hearing aid, I wish that I'd seen things like that made deafness a positive or made hearing aids a cool, fun thing, and not like an impairment. And you can still do things despite having a hearing aid. So yeah, I just really liked this tweet because I can relate to it, and I think it's an important message to get out there.
Can I just ask if
rant over.
No, not particularly ranty at all. Because I can see how what's the word? Condescending it could be to be introduced that way and what have you. Is there still a part of you that wants, and also like the superpower element that you mentioned in the story, because obviously that applies to other conditions as well, that people are now seeing them as, you know, autism, for example, and you know, that kind of. But is there a part of you that still wants to be recognized for having overcome a disability, or is that just, I suppose if you say at the end and she's deaf, it's a bit of a flourish, but is there still part of you that needs to be recognized for?
No, because again, I think the word overcome is like you've had to get over it, but it's not something
using it, but
yeah, it's not something to get over. It's kind of something that's part of, it's like, you know, well, it's not really like anything, but you know, there are so many things that we don't define people by, and ability or disability or conditions or what, you know, whatever people feel comfortable calling them. My deafness, I don't want to be defined by my deafness, but I'm very happy to say I'm deaf, and other people won't feel as comfortable with that, you know, just like me tweeting that I'm bisexual. But other people won't feel as comfortable as that. But I'm not just a deaf bisexual woman who's been divorced. Although, how snazzy is that for a dating app bio?
That's quite a good intro as well. I could have done that for the intro.
Yeah, I think I think we just need to see people as multifaceted human beings with lots of things going on. I don't think I've overcome anything in my deafness, but I'm definitely trying to, you know, use the little profile I have to maybe make life a little bit easier for other people who might be deaf or suddenly get told they need a hearing aid. And, you know, because when I remember when I went to the audiologist, it was a complete shock that they said, you know, we'd recommend you use a hearing aid. And then they gave me all these leaflets with like grey-haired people on them. And they all looked like, you know, they sucked boiled sweets and spoke Latin. And I was like, that's not me.
It's
like
to do that at the same time, I can tell you. But,
well, I don't know. My gran would have given it a run for her money. But yeah, so I just think kind of there are so many cool young deaf people, and we don't see them or hear about them, no pun intended. And so that's why it was so brilliant to see Rose on Strictly. And, you know, that's why it's brilliant if you follow me on Twitter, because I'm cool and a little bit young and deaf.
A little bit young. So what was it? Joy? What was it? Was it Joy? Joy facilitator and a little bit young.
And a little bit young. Divorced and a little bit young.
Absolutely. Michael, let's go on to one of your picks here.
Can I just?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Can I just say something that?
Yes, totally.
When I was growing up, one of my very best friends was deaf, and I mean he's still deaf. But I haven't seen him for like 6 years, but we're very, very, very good friends, and I'm a really big fan of the first 3, arguably 4 albums by the band Marillion, and I think you'll agree I'm a really cool guy, right? So with that in mind, people often say, how the fuck did you get into Marillion? And the truth is, my deaf friend introduced me to Marillion. So I was recommended to the band Marillion by a profoundly deaf person. In fact, he introduced me to loads of bands. He was very much, we went to loads of gigs together. We went to festivals together. He was turns out a really, 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 as far as I'm concerned, an important musical expert in my life. But it's hard to make other people understand that when you say, yeah, I got into Marillion because of a deaf guy. Yeah, no, it's unusual. It's
yeah. What was the process? How does that work musically?
Well, he liked music. Firstly, I mean, visually, I mean, he liked the striking images of music videos, and you know, and heightened pop personas. Like, I mean, he was really into Adamant in the early 80s. So, and you can sort of see why. I mean, handsome as fuck, was pretty wild. But the music, but he bought the albums and held speakers while playing them at full volume. So there was a vibration throughout his body that went with the rhythm of the music. It was really, I mean, it's absolutely
incredible.
Phenomenally interesting.
Really incredible.
There's a film called Coda, and name drop, I interviewed the cast and the director for Apple because they made the film. So I am slightly biased because I was employed to do that. But there is a great moment in the film where the dad of the family, they're a profoundly deaf family, and there's one hearing daughter. And he turns up at school to pick her up, and he's playing really loud, like, I think it's like hip hop or rap music. And it's like booming out of the car. And she's embarrassed because all of the hearing people at her school can hear him playing. And she gets in the car and she signs to him, like, what are you doing? Turn it down. And he's like, I like the vibrations. They make my balls shake. In the car, which is a brilliant moment. But yeah, it's all about vibration.
I think that's what Martin was saying when he said, have you heard Marillion? I think what he was really saying is, my balls have shaken a lot this week. Here's an album.
My balls shake.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Oh, check it out. I tell you, there's no greater compliment, is there? So let's have a look. We're back to you. Right, this needs explaining. This feels like this might be slightly an in thing, Michael. I'm not sure what's going on here.
See, I don't get it. It's one of those clever comedians' jokes. I just don't get these jokes by these incredibly clever comedians. This one is by me. I thought I'm generally the funniest guy on Twitter, so I'm going to choose me. It's me saying, I feel sorry for Ben Walker, the producer, having to go back to unbleep all those RHLSTPs. Because, I don't know if you know this, there's a bunch of Richard Herring Leicester Square Theatre podcasts where Richard Herring, I don't know what he says because it's bleeped out, but he's saying a lot of stuff about PrinceAndrew. And I don't know if you know about this, but PrinceAndrew's terrible.
Oh my God.
His mum has said so now, so we can say it. He's a bad guy.
He really likes pizza.
I think that's one of those things that all those years ago, when the domino effect of committing terrible acts amongst so many people that are hurt. The woman herself, but Ben Walker didn't need to get involved in this. And I don't think PrinceAndrew thought about Ben Walker.
I mean, this is a good ad to go back to all those Richard Herring podcasts. I mean, when he said he's done terrible things, I thought you were talking about Richard Herring for a minute. Not kidding, Richard. I want you on the show. I'm kidding. I am totally kidding. Goodness me.
Also, I don't know why they were bleeped out in a podcast, because you can just edit it. You could just edit it out.
Oh, that's true.
Instead of bleeping everything. No, I mean, I don't mean that for your tweet. I just mean, as a podcast producer, I would assume he'd have edited it out rather than bleeping it, because then everyone's going to be like, what have you bleeped out? The mystery.
Yeah, actually, it's a really good point, because it could have been just some of Richard's jokes, and he went, oh, fuck. Let's get rid of those fucking duds. So who knows?
Swear words.
Yeah.
So was this your first tweet out of the block when you heard that PrinceAndrew had been detitled?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I can't really remember what any tweets I did, but I doubt that was the first one.
I think I should have chosen one of yours. There was definitely one out of the blocks. Right, now, speaking about blocks, or at least horses that need to be on blocks, this is mind-blowing. I mean, it's like King Arthur, this should be called. Right, Sam, what's going on?
I mean, I've never been on QI, but I blimmin' love the QI Twitter account, because I love facts, as anyone who came to see my first couple of shows in Edinburgh will know. really into facts and learning things and science. So I love all these facts and they just make me laugh all the time. And I just want to sit down and write jokes around all the facts. So I'm quite interesting. But this is a tweet that says, the steeds of knights were not massive, powerful horses. Knights actually rode horses the size of modern ponies. And then there's a picture of a very cute tiny pony with tiny legs. Looks like the sausage dog of horses. And I just love the idea. Like, I just want it to be a film or some sort of game show where people dress up as knights on tiny ponies with like their feet sticking out at the end and like do some sort of activity, or there's some sort of racing. Like, let's stop racing greyhounds, let's race knights on tiny little ponies with their feet and all the clanging of the armor. Like, I just love the image and I need it to be in my life in some way. I
mean, we talk about rewriting history and claiming back stuff. I mean, that does mean there's a whole canon of, I mean, you know, the Three Musketeers are never going to look the same again, essentially, are they?
And their little ponies, like, we're off to save everything. Go Musketeers. That's what they do, don't they? That's their chant.
It'd be all right for the cartoon, though. It'd be all right for D'Artagnan, but it's, you know, it's not good enough for Michael York, is it?
Well, see, but it very much fits in with Don Quixote, doesn't it?
Ah. Come on.
That's right. Well read, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, I read it.
10 points. I realised we did points, but yeah, 10 points to Michael.
I was thinking also of like superheroes, like the Green Knight. You could have on a little pony. Like, there's just so many places you could go with it, and it brings me joy. And you know what? I'm a joy facilitator. So
I don't know, Samantha, if you saw any of the replies to this tweet.
Oh, right, okay.
Do you know what? I'll never find. But one explained it, and it was tedious. It was like, oh, shut up. Don't ruin the fun.
Is it this one?
Oh, wow.
Well, you must understand, people were smaller back then. It's like, oh, fuck off.
It might be important to note that these ponies were 5 feet at shoulder, or about 15 hands high. Arabian horses are the same size. That's from Wobbly Trees.
It's not
these people are ruining it.
It's not important to note that. It's really dull to note that.
There's a few now. I'll tell you something. If you muted the phrase "I think you'll find" on Twitter, then spiritually, so many tweets would go.
Like a black hole will open.
Well, maybe.
Wow. Yeah, they've ruined it. Never read the comments on articles or fun tweets.
I think we should go double pony on this, Sam, because you've got a bit of a related tweet.
I mean, this is very silly, but it made me laugh out loud. Quite interesting. Again, QI. January the 14th was the feast of the arse in the medieval Christian calendar, a day when all biblical donkeys were celebrated. Now, and I've written, it's not what you first think, because the feast of the arse is like, I swear a man on Tinder, like early doors, said that this was his favorite festival to me. Like, I was like, hi, how are you? He was like, I'm really into feasting on arse. But I love that this is actually just about donkeys. But also, why is it a feast? Do they eat the donkey? I have so many questions about this. Do they eat the donkeys? Do they feed is it like a donkey buffet? And to celebrate the donkeys, they feed them a lot? Or do they just eat other things to celebrate donkeys? And why is it Christian? Because Mary was on a donkey.
I wouldn't look into it too much, just in case it is close to what that guy on Tinder was into.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be very upsetting to...
Yeah, let's just see if there's no... I can't see any. I think you'll find...
there's no description. But I want to go back. You know, when people are like, oh, if you could go back in time, what time would you go to? I would go to January the 14th and the Feast of the Arse to see what was actually going down. I'm just so interested by everything to do with this tweet.
The Feast of the Ass. Wow. I don't know. I've only ever been to the tail end of that. Sorry, that just came to me. I think we should have another. Mike, right now. Well, we can't. I can't not have the mighty Quantick here. So let's get David's tweet, and then we're definitely doing your comedian's WhatsApp tweet. Right. Yes, David Quantick's tweet. If you want to read that out, obviously David Quantick, an eminent degrees of comedy writing.
I think I like this one because I relate to it far too much. It's David Quantick saying, "Just tried to tell the time by looking at a receipt," and unfortunately, like, I do that sort of thing far too often. Do you ever go, if you're getting on the tube, do you ever get, before you get to the turnstiles, do you ever get your keys out?
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah.
I've also tried to open my front door with like a train
with
ticket.
a card. Yeah, I've done that. It's just so...
I have not
Why
lived.
do we find the simplest things complicated and confusing? And
Well, do you know what I thought when I read this? I thought, I think you'll find. I think you'll find if you were at a shop and you just purchased something.
Yeah.
Look at the receipt for the time.
You could sort of get an idea of what the time was, right?
So
yeah.
I was like, that's quite a good idea. If you didn't have a watch on you, just purchase something.
Or even if you sort of went, do you know what? Well, I don't know what time it is, but I bought those shoes a week ago and it was around about this time.
Yeah.
Look at the receipt.
There you go.
Vaguely.
Those receipts
that's
are so
how they used to. That's how they used to do it in the olden days.
Oh yeah.
The receipts.
But well before clocks, people relied on receipts.
They did, yeah.
There's so much information on the receipt. I struggle to find the date on them half the time. But
you know the way people used to say, "Oh, I hate it when there's a new year," because when I have to write out a check or whatever, write the date down, I still have the. If I write down the date, I genuinely start with 1909 something. I've wiped out 20 odd years from my memory.
That's a lot for you.
It's like
it is a lot for me, Samantha. Thank you for the sympathy. I can't understand if I think it's the 90s or I want it to be the 90s.
Yeah, that is
It's a lot of years. I'm sorry for your loss of like 20 plus years.
I wasn't doing anything.
Okay.
I think it's like one of those cultural things where you just think, well, I've seen enough years now, so I don't really need. It's a bit like me with
who cares what year it is
with sitcoms or music. It's like, yeah, I've got my favourites now. I don't need any new stuff, thanks.
Yeah,
it's brilliantly. I love how small-minded I am, but it does happen.
Anyway, prove it's 2022. Prove it.
Have you ever done that thing
Just
where you look at a receipt and it says the name of the cashier and you're like, Sandra? She didn't look like a Sandra.
I wouldn't pay. In that instance, I absolutely just wouldn't pay. It's like, that is definitely trade. There's some kind of trading standards thing going on there.
I insist that viewers keep that in mind next time that I buy something. Look at the name immediately and go,
yeah,
the fuck is this? You're not a Sandra. Put your real name down there. And phone number. Oh, hang on.
Sometimes they log into each other's, because when I used to work in a shop, sometimes you're actually logged into someone else's, cash till login, and then people would be like, "She didn't look like a Barry." It's because I wasn't Barry. I was illegally operating under Barry's name.
It's a shame. So, Samantha, you had a late entry, which I've just realised if I don't scroll to now, I might end up forgetting it. Cats, it's cats, it's cats.
Of course, keeping with the cuddle theme. Again, I have so many. I like tweets that make me laugh at first, and then I have so many questions. So this is by Natasha, and it says, "Alas, that it had to come to this." And there is a photo of a poster on the wall of a library that says in capitals, "Please do not let this cat into the library." And there's a picture of a black-looking angry cat with a red circle and a line over his face. And underneath it says, "Warning, he bites." And then in small print, it says, "He is called Simpkin and belongs at Hertford." And initially, funny. they put a sign up not to let a cat into a library. Then you're like, what's the cat done? What's he do? I mean, warning, he bites, yeah, but he can't just be biting random people in a library. Like, why does he keep going into the library? Is there food in there? Like, maybe his owner's in there just having a read. Is he trying to steal books? Because they're cutting down on that now at libraries, aren't they? You can't just take a book home and find it.
Honestly, they will not let cats steal books anymore. Not in the library. Won't. Bloody Tories.
Dogs, fine. No cats.
Yeah, sure. Do you know what? I once went to a polling station with my dog, and I just couldn't be arsed. I was too lazy to go home, leave her off, and then go and vote. So I went to the polling station, in my head, knowing fully well, there's no way they're going to let dogs in. Of course they won't. But I thought, if I walk confidently towards the polling station, they might not say anything. So I just walked really confidently past the woman who was at the door of the polling station. She went, "Excuse me, we don't allow dogs in here." But I kept on walking, and I just said, "It's not a dog," and no one questioned it. No one said a thing after I said it's not a dog.
I thought you were going to say that you let him off the lead so he could vote, and you like have your vote by proxy. But
honestly, you would not let her vote. Trust me, she had some serious views that I would not be happy with.
Dogs at polling stations is a thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but they're always outside.
Yeah, they are. It's because there's signs like this for all of those dogs.
Yeah.
Do not let. There's one for you at your polling station now for you and that
do
dog.
Not let this dog into the polling station. She will vote.
It is weird, this poster. I mean, it's almost like the afterthought. Warning, he bites, as if they're just like, right, let's just do some fake news on this cat. Let's just make anything up.
Yeah, I don't believe that Simkin bites. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but.
Also, they know all this information that he's called Simpkin and he belongs at Hertford. It's like they've obviously been like,
where in Hertford? Like in a house? Like Hertford's a wide area. Also, reading doesn't make anyone angry enough to bite. I don't believe this.
I don't think you've looked at Twitter.
No, there's no Twitter in the library. It's just lovely, lovely books.
There's a Dan Brown joke in there somewhere, I think, but we're gonna just about do this. Like, Michael, your last tweet, I saved it to last. I don't know why. I think this probably needs a whole other show. It's a tweet from Rua Ward.
Yeah. You wanted me to choose 5 tweets to come out this week. Well, as you can see, this is a 10-year-old tweet.
Oh, do you know what? I'm glad you told me that.
It's 10 years old. And here's the thing. I think about this tweet, I'd say minimum of once a week. Because any time that I text something funny to a friend, I always think, well, that's that gone then. Because now, I can't possibly tweet. And I used to be... Let me read out the tweet. It's from the lovely Rua Ward, and he says, comedians text each other, sometimes end up as tweets. We're that brilliant. And when he first tweeted that, my laugh was simply out of shame, out of deep, wet, dark shame. And I've done it. Like, I've texted a friend. Imagine texting a friend something and then 2 minutes later putting it on Twitter. What sort of low-life scum are you when you actually put a value on the conversation, a monetary value, because Twitter is money in our heads, so it's a monetary value on a conversation we're having with our friend. What Rue has done here is very cleverly pointed me out as a charlatan and a whore. Whore!
We were going to do that by the end of the show, so that's succeeded. Sorry, Samantha, what were you going to say?
It's reusing content, isn't it? I think as comedians or like people who say things for a living, you're like, everything I say could be used in the future to earn me money. So our poor friends, I've quite often like seen a comedian tweet a joke and I'm like, they tried that on me. the other day and tried to work it into a conversation, and now they're saying it as a tweet. So and you get to know, once you become a comedian, you have comedian friends, you get to know when someone's trying their jokes out on you but trying to work it into conversation. And now I just call it out, and I hope that anyone would call me out on it as well. But you know, we've got to use our life and just reproduce that content. Like, I got divorced and I used the grief of my divorce to create a podcast around it. I've monetized my grief and shame, and that's a clear example of reusing or remolding content, and I love it.
I do. Is there a
I don't think it's removed the guilt from me.
There needs to be a hashtag for comedians using their jokes in. If you're calling them out, we need to have some kind of hashtag for that conversational
previous text. Yeah,
totally. Brilliant. Listen, we've come to the end. It's been amazing. It has gone by incredibly quickly. Believe me, Michael, if you had my life, this would be the definition of amazing.
Listen,
you better tweet that.
Do not think I don't have your life. I've got your life.
That's slightly sinister note to end on. Have you got the cats one as well? You already knew. Yeah. You already knew, didn't you?
In my life, it's been fine.
Yeah, that's good. Fine, we'll take fine. We'll put that on the quotes board for when we go live. Actually, I will mention our live foray in a moment. But first of all, I want you two guys to plug, if you so wish to, anything that you are up to soon, whether that's live appearances, books, you name it. Go ahead. Who wants to go first? Michael.
Here's my book.
What? Oh, look at the lovely Doctor Who artwork on that.
I mean, it's beautiful. It's my book, Strawberries and Pigs. You can buy it at gofasterstripe.com, or it's just gone up on Bandcamp if you want. I can't sign the ones that go from Go Faster Stripe, but I can. People have asked me to sign copies, but what they really mean is, can you call my nan a cunt? So if you want me to call your nan a cunt, I'm not happy about it, but if that's what you want,
I hope this is paid.
I do it via my Bandcamp account.
Yeah, I mean, I'd buy that just for the graphic design, quite honestly.
Thank you, mate. Yeah. Thank you.
I do believe that. I might make a note of that. Sam, what are you up to?
I have 2 books out, and I will not write anything horrible about your nan in it, even if you ask me. Sorry, no. One is called Harriet versus the Galaxy, and the other one is called The Night the Moon Went Out, and they are available at all good bookshops. And they have deaf protagonists, like I mentioned, and they're for children between the ages of 6 and 12 because they're shorter, and I can write
the children of the
jokes.
books.
Both.
Yes.
And I have a podcast called The Divorce Social, where I've monetized my grief and shame, and I mean, not highly monetized a podcast, so you know, not making millions, but I'll take the few pence I earn. And you can currently catch me acting in things all over the streaming platforms. Yes.
Fantastic stuff. I've just had a quick flash of both your Twitter feeds there, which actually the handles of which have been scrolling above us on a ticker throughout the show, so people know where to go to follow you.
Yes, follow us on social media.
Follow them. And absolutely follow us too, please, at LKT Zoom. That would be fantastic. Very grateful for you watching for the various streams that you've been watching tonight. You can catch this show, the stream of the show will be available on YouTube, of course. Please do give us a subscribe there. It will also be available as a podcast, should be by tomorrow, hopefully. And we'll be doing some clips too. And then next week, we have a show with, Sajila will be back with me, and Darren Walsh, another Punmeister, I should say, because we have one in the Zoom room. Hello, Sam. Punmeister, Darren Walsh will be joining us with another guest to be confirmed. And also, we will be live in real life at the Bill Murray on February the 6th, which is Sunday, the February 6th, between 4:30 and 6:30. That's double bill with Comics Solving Problems, who are Eric McElroy and Steve N. Allen. So please do come along to that. I need to be plugging away at that. So yeah, it's been really fun tonight. All that remains is for us in unison. Also, please stay in the Zoom room, guys, so I can say a proper goodbye. But all that remains is just for us to wave goodbye to our streamers and wish them good night. Thanks a lot, guys.
Good night.
Good
care.
night.